Let us talk about operating systems. The operating system is the most important software on a computer. Without it, you cannot run any applications. It is the bridge between the user and the hardware. This is topic 7. We are discussing operating systems. By the end of this lesson, you will understand what an operating system is, the functions of an operating system, the types of operating systems, examples of operating systems, and how to answer exam questions. Take your notes. Let us go. First, what is an operating system? An operating system, or OS, is a set of software that manages computer hardware and provides services for application software. The operating system is the first software that loads when you turn on the computer. It remains running until you turn off the computer. It controls everything that happens. Without an operating system, the computer is just a collection of electronic parts. The operating system hides the complexity of the hardware from the user and from application programs. Now, let me explain the functions of an operating system. These are the tasks that every operating system must perform. The first function is process management. A process is a program that is running. The operating system manages all running processes. It decides which process gets CPU time and for how long. It starts, pauses, and stops processes. It ensures that processes do not interfere with each other. The second function is memory management. The operating system manages the computer's memory. It allocates memory to programs when they start. It frees memory when programs close. It ensures that programs do not use memory that belongs to other programs. It also uses virtual memory to allow programs to use more memory than physically available. The third function is file system management. The operating system manages files and folders on storage devices. It allows users to create, delete, read, write, and rename files. It organizes files in a hierarchy of folders. It keeps track of where each file is stored on the disk. It also manages file permissions, controlling who can read, write, or execute each file. The fourth function is input-output device management. The operating system controls input and output devices. It sends data to printers, displays images on monitors, reads keystrokes from keyboards, and receives clicks from mice. It uses device drivers to communicate with different hardware devices. Device drivers are software that translate commands from the operating system into commands that the device understands. The fifth function is security and access control. The operating system protects the computer from unauthorized access. It requires users to log in with a username and password. It controls which users can access which files and programs. It also protects against malware and other threats. The sixth function is user interface. The operating system provides a way for users to interact with the computer. There are two main types of user interfaces. A command line interface, or CLI, requires the user to type commands. The user must know the commands. This interface is powerful, but difficult for beginners. Examples include MS-DOS and the Linux terminal. A graphical user interface, or GUI, uses windows, icons, menus, and a pointer. The user clicks on icons to open programs. This interface is easier for most people. Examples include Windows, macOS, and Linux with a desktop environment. The seventh function is network management. The operating system manages network connections. It allows the computer to send and receive data over networks. It handles network protocols like TCP, IP. It also provides security features like firewalls. Now let me explain the types of operating systems. There are several types based on how they manage tasks and users. Single user. Single-tasking operating systems allow only one user to run only one program at a time. Early personal computers used these. MS-DOS is an example. Single-user multitasking operating systems allow one user to run multiple programs at the same time. You can have a web browser open while listening to music and writing a document. Most modern desktop operating systems are in this category. Windows, macOS, and Linux are examples. Multi-user operating systems allow multiple users to use the computer at the same time. Each user has their own login. The operating system switches between users so quickly that it seems like they are all running at once. Servers and mainframes use multi-user operating systems. Unix and Linux are examples. Real-time operating systems are designed to process data as it comes in, without delays. They are used in embedded systems like medical devices, car engines, and industrial robots. They must respond to events within a guaranteed time. Examples include VxWorks and QNX. Network operating systems are designed to manage network resources. They allow users to share files, printers, and other resources over a network. Windows Server and Linux are examples. Distributed operating systems manage a group of independent computers and make them appear as a single computer. They are used in high-performance computing clusters. Now let me explain examples of operating systems. Microsoft Windows is the most common operating system for personal computers. The first version was released in 1985. Windows has a graphical user interface. It is easy to use. It supports a huge range of software. Versions include Windows 95, XP, 7, 8, 10, and 11. Each version added new features and improvements. Windows is proprietary software. You must pay to use it. macOS is the operating system for Apple's Mac computers. It is based on Unix. It has a graphical user interface. macOS is known for its stability and design. It comes pre-installed on Mac computers. You cannot install it on non-Apple computers legally. macOS is proprietary software. Linux is a free and open-source operating system. It was created by Linus Torvalds in 1991. Linux is based on Unix. There are many different versions of Linux, called distributions or distros. Examples include Ubuntu, Fedora, Debian, and Red Hat. Linux is very popular on servers. Most web servers run Linux. It is also used on supercomputers, embedded systems, and Android phones. Linux is free. Android is an operating system for mobile devices like smartphones and tablets. It is based on Linux. Android was developed by Google. It is the most popular mobile operating system in the world. It has a graphical user interface designed for touchscreens. Android is open source, but many devices include proprietary Google services. iOS is the operating system for Apple's mobile devices, including the iPhone and iPad. iOS is based on macOS. It has a graphical user interface designed for touchscreens. iOS is proprietary. It is only available on Apple devices. Now let me explain the boot process. Booting is the process of starting a computer. When you turn on the computer, the CPU first executes instructions stored in ROM. These instructions are called the BIOS or UEFI. The BIOS checks the hardware and then loads the bootloader from the hard drive or other storage device. The bootloader then loads the operating system into RAM. Finally, the operating system starts and displays the login screen or desktop. This entire process happens in a few seconds or minutes. A common exam question asks you to list the functions of an operating system. Here is a sample answer. The functions of an operating system include process management, memory management, file system management, input-output device management, security and access control, user interface, and network management. These functions allow the computer to run programs, store data, communicate with devices, and interact with users. Another exam question asks you to distinguish between single-user and multi-user operating systems. Here is your answer. A single-user operating system allows only one user to use the computer at a time. Most personal computers use single-user operating systems. A multi-user operating system allows multiple users to use the computer at the same time. They have their own logins, and the system switches between them. Servers and mainframes use multi-user operating systems. Single-user systems are simpler. Multi-user systems are more complex and secure. Another exam question asks you to compare command line and graphical user interfaces. Here is your answer. A command line interface requires the user to type commands. It is powerful, but difficult for beginners. A graphical user interface uses windows, icons, and menus. It is easier for most users. Command line uses less memory and processing power. Graphical user interface requires more resources. Experienced users often prefer command line for efficiency. Most users prefer graphical user interface for ease of use. Another exam question asks you to list examples of operating systems for different devices. Here is your answer. For personal computers, examples include Microsoft Windows, macOS, and Linux. For mobile devices, examples include Android and iOS. For servers, examples include Windows Server and Linux. For embedded systems, examples include VxWorks and embedded Linux. Each operating system is designed for its specific hardware and purpose. Here is what you need to take away. An operating system manages hardware and provides services for applications. Its functions include process, memory, file, device, security, user interface, and network management. Types include single-user, multi-user, real-time, and network operating systems. Examples include Windows, macOS, Linux, Android, and iOS. Practice these concepts. When you have them down, move to topic 8.